This is Home Games. That is Steve Milton from the Hamilton Spectator. At the far end, that is Bubba O'Neill from CHCH TV, Rick Zamprin from 900 CHML Radio. I'm Scott Radley from 900 CHML and the Hamilton Spectator. And guys, before we get started today, I just wanted to show you something that we were sent by a viewer who thought that this was Steve.
Perfect. Okay, I blame you, Radley, because you used to run that column. There's one that I kind of do a little bit of now, where you used to say separated at birth, you know, and I think people got used to doing that. But I think that's fair. What's her name?
So up at the top, we're going to have to change Steve to Sophia.
Sophia,
we'll see
that's
where
right.
This goes. All right. We all can be self-deprecating.
Oh,
guys,
I thought it was going to be worse than that. I thought I'd be much worse than that. So.
NHL training camps have opened up. And the one that's around here that's closest to where we are, of course, would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I got to ask you, and Rick, I'll go to you first on this one. Does anything at all that the Toronto Maple Leafs do between now and April or thereabouts when the regular season ends, does anything they do matter to Leaf fans? Or after last season and the seasons before, it is all just do it in the playoffs? I don't care if you score 1,000 points in the regular season, do it in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're at that point where they have to do it in the playoffs. I mean, they've had ample opportunity to do so each and every season since the mid-2000s, I think. They haven't, gotten the job done. Auston Matthews can score 50 or more. Mitch Marner could be in the top 5 in scoring. Jack Campbell can be a very likable guy and statistically a very effective goaltender. But A, make the playoffs, and B, win a playoff round. I think that is the expectation. Anything else really doesn't matter.
Bubs, what do you think?
How sad is it for this organization that a fan like Rick Zamprin, all he wants is a round in the playoffs?
Please,
that's how bad it is. That's the bar, right? Like, not win a championship, not win a division, but just win a playoff round. And really, that's how bad it is. And you're right, nothing does matter. But you know what, Scott? I would say this for many pro sports. I'll put the NBA and Major League Baseball in that category because they both play a substantial amount of games compared to the National Football League and the CFL. You know what? What happens in the regular season means nothing. Like, it really does. Like, it means nothing other than stats and, reasons to inflate your contract. But as a fan, it's in the playoffs and what you do. Because you know what? You could just get into the playoffs and have a wonderful playoff run, and I'll remember that more than what happens in the regular season.
Yeah, if we go to the question as sort of in its straight unlimited sense was, does anything matter to the Leaf fans other than what happens in April and beyond? I think from a negative standpoint, it could. If something negative happens, watch it.
Yeah,
it's going to be like wildfire, and the assumptions that it'll spread. This is a really good hockey team. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Last year's team was a really, really good team, and so was the year before that. So that makes the question legitimate about the Springs, given especially last year, and especially against them, especially since the whole thing was on a tee for them. But if anything negative happens, and I think there'll be a certain percentage of positivity if a gaudy number is put up. I don't think 50 is gaudy enough. Like if Matthews goes 60 or more, or Marner is the leading scorer, then I think you might see something happen. There'll be a bit of temporary amnesia, but all of us and everybody like us who works anywhere remotely near our business is going to remind everybody, yeah, but don't forget.
Fair or not, the one guy who I don't think anything matters is Mitch Marner. I mean, Mitch Marner has taken over from Willie Nylander as the lightning rod in Toronto, and Mitch Marner can put up, as I say, 1,000 points.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to say, yeah, but you talk a good game. What do you do in the playoffs? And the answer has been nothing. Show us in the playoffs, and then we'll be back on the Mitch Marner bandwagon. Steve, one thing you said, and I agree with you about if it goes negative. I'm not one of those who is willing to essentially just give the Leafs a default position in the playoffs. They're back in the Atlantic with Tampa and Boston and Florida and Ottawa that's better, and Montreal that waited to the finals. I'm not positive the Leafs are an absolute guarantee lock to make the playoffs.
I don't think they are, but it would be beneath them if they don't. Yes. Beneath the talent level if they don't.
Agreed. But Rick, do you believe that it's an absolute certainty that the Leafs are in?
I wouldn't say, hey, we've seen stranger things happen. I would not say it's an absolute certainty. Are they good enough on paper? Absolutely. Have they proven that in the past that they can get the job done to get into the postseason? Yes. Do they have the talent level to do so? Absolutely. No one's really talking about their defense anymore because, they've corrected that problem. I think they're good enough to, allay any fears in terms of the back end. Are there some moments of chaos? Sure, absolutely. But the goaltending tandem of Campbell and Mrazek, I think, is solid. They have a lot of firepower up front. Maybe not the depth that they once had, but at the end of the day, they should be a playoff team. But if they don't make it, I wouldn't be shocked. This is a really hard division.
Come on, guys? This is the National Hockey League. Everybody makes the playoffs, don't they?
Well,
Used to.
Not compared to the old percentages, no.
Used to, no. And if the Leafs were in the West, Bubba, yes, it would be a lock. I mean, if the Leafs were in the West or some other division, but they're in by far the toughest division in hockey right now, and only 4 get in.
Is that what we're going to hear? Is it going to be like the Blue Jays? Oh, we're in the AL East. We're in the top. Like, come on now.
Yeah, we are. We're going to hear that.
No excuses. You have to spend money, get players. There's a salary cap. It should be equal for everyone. If everyone doesn't perform or they don't make the playoffs, they have no one to blame but themselves. The general
100%.
manager will get whacked, and that's just the way it's going to be. But I don't see this team not making the postseason.
I don't think they should. Well, how many injuries, Bob, or anybody here? How many injuries are they away from this? There being trouble. I mean, most teams are. Last year they survived. They showed they could survive without Matthews. They also and their top defenseman. How many would it take, do you think? I'd like everybody's opinion on that.
Well, let me jump in. We had
Jeopardy.
Hyman was gone for a while. Frederick Anderson was gone for a while.
Great.
Missed a little bit of time. Those are 3 major pieces to the puzzle, and they still got by with the depth that they have. So they would have to be, I think, 2 major long-term injuries away for not making the playoffs. Matthew and Marner for a considerable amount of time, maybe one of their 2 goalies and maybe a top defenseman. Then we're thinking, all right, here's a built-in excuse for them to not make the playoffs, to have 3 or 4 major guys not in the lineup.
So when you look at it that way, they should make the playoffs.
They should.
They should.
And Steve, I wasn't arguing that they're not going to make the playoffs. I said it would not be shocking in their division.
They don't.
What you said about things going a little squirrely, if you suddenly get into a bit of a swoon because you've got a series of games against Tampa, Boston, Florida, whomever, and I mean, you're right. If this thing does not look like it did last year in the regular season and they are just living and dying to get in, boy, Bubba, it is going to be, the fans will be pitchforks and torching this year. Guess we lost Bubba.
To me, are no excuse. Everyone has them. Everyone goes to them. Our Pittsburgh won't have Malkin until at least possibly December. Sidney Crosby probably not available till November. You think they're using that as an excuse? This team needs to be constructed. If this team does not make the playoffs with guys like Matthews getting hurt, I mean, Matthews is going to get hurt. He's going to probably every year something happens. I mean, because he's the tightest.
He's already hurt.
He's going to do something with his wrist. Who knows what's going to happen? There'll be something. There will be injuries to the defense as well, too, maybe even to the goaltender, like what happened last year. But you have to have the depth. That's the guy, your general manager, that assembles a team that should have enough in a league where a lot of teams make the playoffs. This team has to get in.
They can't miss. But again, I think that we got to go. We want to hear from you what you think of this. I think nothing that happens in the regular season, other than, as Steve says, a disaster, will get much attention around Leaf fans' world these days, because it's all about the spring. Don't even bother us with your 50 goals, as great as that is. We've seen it before, almost. We want to see if you can win a playoff series. What do you think? Let us know. Twitter handles are going to be up on the screen in just a moment. You can comment on this video. By the way, subscribe to Home Games. We'd love to have you on board. We'll talk to you soon.
There's going to be pain.